Wow, wow, wow. Hey, speaking of Jesus, a Trump Christian tweeted at you, I never lied about you. You are a C word. Wow, he
Oh
called
yeah,
you a C word.
called me a C word, and then said he loved me because he was a good Christian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
and
love
you
you.
will know.
I love you too, you
They'll
big
know
C
we're
word.
Trump Christians by our hate, and they'll know we're Trump Christians by our hate and our inability to spell your correctly. Good morning.
Good morning, personal comedy, Jesus.
Hey.
I love how you were teaching your third grader. You said the third grader asked me why fish don't get tattoos. I explained that ink can't dry when underwater, so fish can only get piercings. This satisfies him, and he goes back to playing.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
really it. You know, look, I feel like during the pandemic, I finally learned to stop calling the pediatrician the vet. And I feel I've come a long way in that regard. So my parenting skills are right up there.
Good.
John, you've often been saying that the day we will finally celebrate is when Trump and Giuliani turn on each other. How close are we to that day?
We're a little closer. I don't know what, obviously Rudy has lots of stuff he could give up
Right.
on Trump if he needed to. Going back to the 80s, going back to Trump calling on Giuliani to fix things for him before Giuliani was even mayor. These guys go back. I don't know what Trump has to offer Giuliani to keep him out of trouble at this point. So, this is all going to depend on, I guess, Merrick Garland's level of bloodlust. I guess that's the best way to put it.
It's not bloodlust, it's justice. But anyway,
that's good too. That's good too.
Rudy is on tape when someone asked him a while back, right? He's like, I keep hearing that Trump's going to throw me under the bus, but I have insurance. So
he said it.
Right? He said it. He goes, well, he's not going to do that, but I have insurance.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to hear that. Allstate? What do you got? There's no gecko that's going to help Rudy now,
Right.
And if the feds are raiding his apartment and his associate's apartment and they're taking his laptop and his phones, there's a chance this might hurt his reputation. I know Rudy goes through cell phones like the cast of Breaking Bad, but
I think he might not be in Borat 2. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Borat 3? Yeah. The thing about Borat is this. Let's just look at the last 6 months of Giuliani's life. Just the last 6 months. Just that. His first time in court in decades. He's thrown out with prejudice.
Right.
Over 60 of these lawsuits are thrown out. He unzips his fly with a woman young enough to be his granddaughter on camera for the Borat sequel.
Mm-hmm.
He says, trial by combat. And then, of course, they have combat and people die at the Capitol.
Right.
He gets COVID-19. He has his goth, gooey hair dye dripping rivulets down his face in a press conference. Gives another press conference outside a dildo shop. He's sued for $1 billion by Dominion. So when you think about it, winning 2 Razzies in the same night was kind of the best part of his year.
Yes.
That might have been it.
John, because you only hurt the ones you love, let's inflict cut 12 on John. Because, listen, this was several news cycles ago already, right? Travis, when was this? Was this on Fox Business yesterday?
What is it?
That was yesterday.
Morning, yes.
This was yesterday. Okay.
Rudy Giuliani is a great patriot. He does these things. He just loves this country. And they raid his apartment. It's so unfair and such a it's like a double standard like I don't think anybody's ever seen before. It's very, very unfair. Rudy is a patriot who loves this country, and I don't know what they're looking for, what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said, I think it was some paperwork. He thinks some clerical error of some sort was all it was. Something.
Sounds like someone's going to be paying Rudy's legal bills. And by someone, I mean the MAGAs donating the Trump super PAC. That's who's going to be paying Rudy's legal bills.
No one's ever seen Witch Hunt. No one's ever seen anything like. Couldn't you just write? You don't even need to hear what he said. I know exactly. Very unfair. No one's ever seen anything like it. Yeah, but Michael Cohen says Rudy drinks too much and he will flip on Donald Trump in a minute. So I don't know. We'll see.
My dog says Rudy drinks too much. Yes, I agree. I mean, my God, you just hear the words glug glug whenever he appears on camera. Will he flip? I mean, I think he would. I think that Giuliani, he doesn't really seem to care about his reputation, but none of us can really talk about the guy's cognitive state. Now, if you live in New York, you know he was crazy before he was even elected.
I've been saying that. I lived there a long time ago. I lived there during 9/11.
I mean, he was crazy before he was elected mayor. But I mean, this is what happens when a guy who used to take down the mafia becomes the mafia.
Yeah, that's right.
And thank God if we get bored of this, there's the Matt Gaetz, Roger Stone show. I can't wait. I'm hoping this is going to be like a bunch of different Marvel shows and they'll have crossovers, because I want to find out, how do we connect the Matt Gaetz, Greenberg, Roger Stone underage call girl story to Rudy, because they all fit together.
I just was going to Roger Stone's in all of them. And John, if I ever ask you to write down an entire list of your crimes and give it to me, because I will try to get you a pardon, I'm just advising you in advance, don't do it.
Well, I did it for my intro, that one show, but that's in my bio.
I mean,
it's.
Chris was saying at the top of the show, I don't even know how many layers of dumb are in both of these stories, but oh my God. Oh my God. It's
a 7-layer dip of dumb.
Matt Gaetz and I had sex with a 17-year-old. This is what else. And here's some text. Oh my God.
Here it is in print. And $250 million to Roger Stone. What could go wrong?
Right. And Lordy, as Glenn Kirshner told us, Lordy, there are tapes in the Giuliani thing. Ukrainian officials were cooperating with the FBI while they were still dealing with Rudy. So it's just, they're both screwed, just different levels of screwed.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's tapes of everything. I'm still waiting for the Jeffrey Epstein tapes to come out. That's like the Guns N' Roses album they'll never release. But here's what blew me away this week more than anything, more than Tim Scott. The CNN poll this week that they had about Biden's address. Obviously, that what got all the headlines was that 71% of people walked away from that speech saying they felt more optimistic about the country's direction after Biden's speech. And comedians know, you play to the room you're in. This new elderly Biden, talking in a hushed tone Biden that never existed in the 80s or the 90s or the zeros, it was perfect for a half-full Capitol. I mean, more than 8 in 10 said his proposals on COVID were moving us in the right direction. But here's the amazing thing. They did the survey of the same people before and after the speech. And among Republicans, before the speech, 13% of Republicans said they thought Biden's policies would move us in the right direction. After the speech, 27% of Republicans felt that the policies, it doubled among Republicans once the speech was done. And among independents, it went from 61% thought it was going to work before the speech to 73% after the speech. This agenda is bipartisan. It is bipartisan.
It is.
Republicans who said it are trapped. If they do their jobs, they get primaried by somebody crazier and more racist back home. That's the Republican problem. If they do their jobs, they lose their jobs. If they try to help a Democrat to help American lives, they get challenged by someone more insane. So they're trapped. Biden just needs to ram this through, and it's time for bribery against Sinema and Manchin. I think bribery is the most moral way out of all of this.
Yes,
Blackmail,
I agree.
Bribery, the new moral option.
I agree. I loved you dealt with, bitch slapped a bunch of people on Twitter. Stephen Miller commenting on Biden's speech. I was really wanting to know what he thought. He said, striking just how tedious and unoriginal the rhetoric was in Biden's speech. No outreach, no bipartisanship, no surprises, no warmth. And you said also at no point did he mention stealing refugee children from their desperate parents with no system in place to ever give them back. And now it's time for me to feed. I think that probably is what Stephen Miller
Whenever Stephen Miller says anything, just add, and now I must feed.
Right. Did you see how Biden dealt with that heckler about refugee? He's like, give me a few days, man. I mean, it's already, I can't remember what the statistic is, how many less are in these camps just with Biden being in office 100 days. And he's like, give me a few days, man. I'm working on it. But he is just, he's on fire in terms of how
it's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. Like until both parties, if either party wanted undocumented immigration to stop, you end it really simply. You start locking up the people doing the hiring, right? We have this little keep out sign and this giant help wanted sign on our border, and everyone's played dumb about it my entire life. And until that time comes, they're going to keep on coming. And as long as they're coming, why not treat these people like people?
Like people,
Crazy
like Jesus
idea.
would. Personal comedy Jesus. Yeah, you tweeted of the of the Republican response, the Capitol was attacked by rioters with Confederate flags, serving a POTUS who claimed the first black POTUS wasn't a real American, who tried to throw out ballots of the Pennsylvania, Arizona urban voters. And Tim Scott said America's not a racist country in a building built by slaves. Thank you, John Fugelsang, rock star cheers. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's talking about how many he's been pulled over 7 times in a year, called the N-word, but it's not a racist country. What?
Imagine you're Tim Scott and your job is to just hang out around people who love the Confederacy all the time and act like that's cool. That's Tim Scott's job. And, I don't like this Uncle Tom stuff. I don't think white people have the right to talk like that. But Uncle Tom is that book is the most misunderstood book in American literature. That whole book is anti-slavery, and that whole book is an indictment of American Christianity for allowing slavery. Uncle Tom is not this shuffling Samuel L. Jackson and Django character. He's literally the Christ figure in the book. It's a crucifixion in the end, what Legree does to Uncle Tom. So it's totally inappropriate. But having said that, Tim Scott deserves everything Black Twitter wants to hurl at him because he has signed up for it. He knows when you talk about all the racism you've endured in your career and then say America's not a racist country, he's on that stage the same reason they needed Ben Carson on that debate stage. They needed Herman Cain on that debate stage. Don't look at my policies. Look at my black friend.
And I have defended Frangela. They did not call him an Uncle Tom. They just said they understand that the biscuits are better in the big house. And that's all they would say. Now, I knew you were going to come at the people on Twitter who posted the rising group of right-wing U.S. Catholic bishops is colliding with a very Catholic president who supports abortion rights. And you said, but a politician supporting the death penalty, which unlike abortion, Jesus actually preached against, is just fine for these very Catholic right-wing bishops. Ben Shapiro said, very Catholic president who supports abortion rights is an interesting turn of phrase. You said, Christians who support the Trump agenda is even more interesting. Thank you, my ecclesiastical mook, for going after.
I opened the show last night on Sirius XM with the monologue about this, and it was all of our calls all night were from my fellow damaged Catholics. Here's the deal. Jesus never mentions abortion. The Bible never mentions abortion. God says life begins with first breath. God drowns every fetus on earth with a flood this one time because he was in that kind of mood. God gives Moses abortion tips for unfaithful pregnant wives in Numbers chapter 5. That's not to say it's pro-abortion. What I'm saying is America's Christianity is a racket where they've gotten the followers of Jesus to vote against everything Christ actually talked about by talking about abortion, which Christ never talked about. Christ did come out against the death penalty. The Vatican is also against the death penalty, but that polls better in Europe than here. It's all about how you're going to get people to open up their pocketbooks in the pews. So here we say abortion, that gets the donations. Over there, we're anti-death penalty. But here's the deal. The bishops took so many donations from high-priced donors who supported Donald Trump that this is all theater. It's disgusting. You will never see a Catholic bishop deny the Eucharist to someone who supports the death penalty. And that's something Jesus actually preached against.
Yeah.
I don't know
the Bible like you do, but I recall almost something about Jesus. Wasn't he, checks notes, a victim of the death penalty?
Indeed he was, yes. And you had a healthier childhood than me, so you don't. But yes, Jesus was. He overturns eye for an eye in the Sermon on the Mount, literally his first gig. Again, I'm not saying he was pro-abortion. I'm saying he never mentioned it, but he came out against killing the sinner many, many times. I didn't write the book. And you don't need to believe in any of this stuff to use it when you're debating your right-wing loved ones, because they haven't read it. Trust me. Right-wing Christianity is the manger and the baby, and then the crucifix and the dead guy, and they skip over all those inconveniently liberal teachings that come in between.
Yeah.
So
he didn't talk about the death.
Bishops are going to back down.
Yeah, he didn't talk about the death penalty. He's too busy talking about gays. Oh, no, he didn't do that either. Okay. Don't come after Sir John Fugelsang on the Bible, people. Haven't you learned your lesson? All right.
Yeah.
I love you, John.
I love you guys, and I want to thank you for keeping me sane this whole time. It has been quite a year.
Yeah.
But now, thankfully, here in New York, Bill de Blasio has the clairvoyance to tell us that the virus will be completely gone and the Indian variant will be completely gone by July. And so we're celebrating his ability to see into the future. Bill, your need to be liked won't get anyone killed, I'm sure.
Oh, my God. Please get vaccinated. Get back. Think of John Fugelsang when they stick it in. Just it'll help.
Up to the Bronx for number 2 today. I got to take my wife to the Bronx for her second one today.
My second one's today. My second one's today.
I hope her reaction is better than the last one. I know she had a tough time with the last last one, but
She got sick on the first
Yeah.
one. I got sick on my second Pfizer.
Okay.
Really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know, but
Is
again,
she do you have a
like,
mixed marriage? Is she Pfizer or Moderna? Is she?
you know what? We're in New York State, and Governor Cuomo is so desperate. He's letting us have whatever we want. So
Oh.
I've had AstraZeneca and a Johnson & Johnson.
No, you
I
haven't.
got them all the same day. Cuomo just wants to be liked right now.
What
He's-
one
he's
is your
giving
wife
all
get?
the
What one is
MP.
your wife? Are you a mixed marriage?
She's on the Moderna. Yes.
Oh,
We are
she's well. Let's just because she's awesome. Let's just jingle her into the club.
Moderna. Moderna.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's nothing to worry about for that reason. I mean, you know, like canned meat has a higher rate of messing your blood up, I would think, than 6 out of 7 million. You know what I mean? 6 people out of 7 million. So I'm not at all worried about it. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, I know what this is about to be. They're going to take this ball and run with it, you know, and make it like it's anti-vaxxers Christmas, you know, when it comes to this situation. So I'm not surprised by any of that. You know, you'll have that. It is what it is, but it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, what's interesting is the people who are most up in arms about this, at least the ones who are saying, see, I told you, are people who are never going to get the vaccine to begin
Right.
with.
100%. Yes. They, they were never going to get it. It's people that, you know, I mentioned canned meat earlier, but I just think about like people that I went to high school with that I see on Facebook saying they would never get the vaccine, you know, because the government told them to. And I'm like, I saw you eat a possum because a dude named Lugnut told you to, you know, you got real high standards now for what you're putting in your body, but you know, it's because of the source. But you're right. They weren't going to get it either way, but that's not going to stop them from running their mouth about how big of a controversy this is, what has happened, when really it's not. The other thing is they're going to use it as validation to be like, look, we told you it wasn't safe, when in reality it's the opposite. In my opinion, it's like, no, we told you it was incredibly safe. It's so incredibly safe that you can't even get the vaccine that has a 0.000000088 failure rate or whatever. It's not even open to you because that's how safe and regulated it is. But they're not going to see it that way.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I love these cereal box epidemiologists who are telling us that it was a hoax, that the virus isn't real, and now that this is horribly tragic.
Yeah, right. Well, they say, they're like, yes, like you said, cereal box epidemiologists, they're, do your research. They'll say, it's like watching YouTube with your mouth open ain't research, like it's not what research is. It's not what that word means.